Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for the questions as usual, folks. Fridays equals better yet. Q&A day. As you can see, there was even some late entries. You see my handwriting. Obviously, you see the printer. Obviously, I hope you can hear me properly and things like that. Each and every time, people thank you for the questions. Like I said, you guys know I'm not lying. You come heavy with the question, then there's a boatload of questions there. We're gonna be here for a while. Like I said, it's all love, people, man, and I really enjoy doing this for you lot, and obviously it can't happen without the questions. So let's not waste any more time. Let's crack straight back on. So yeah, don't know where to start. There's a lot of intriguing questions from a bunch of you. Some of you have multiple ones, and again, big up yourselves. But Bilal has asked me to rank the top midfield pivots or threes in the top six. First, that's his first question. That's a tough one. I don't really think I'd probably. I don't know, man. That's tough, bro. That's tough. That's tough. Probably got to give whoever it is. I can't give specific examples, but I'd probably say at this moment in time, I'd say City first on the basis they've won the league, on the basis that their midfielders all know the tactics and things like that Pep wants to deploy, and clearly backed up by winning the league. I'm keen to see how Liverpool deploy their targets and Keita in that. Obviously, I'm keen to see how Torreira, Ramsey potentially with Xhaka could add up. United could potentially have a good pivot or three depending on how they want to go with Matic, Pogba, and Fred. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Obviously, Chelsea's one looks good for me. Kante, I don't need to tell you about Kante. You know what Kante's been on. And Jorginho, that's a big signing in my opinion. So potentially, I don't know if it's going to be them two in the pivot or a three of sorts with Cess or whatever, or Golovin in the 10 role, but that could potentially be a blossoming pairing. So you'll have to get back to me in the season because I'm not too sure. And in regards to top six managers, obviously I'm going to give Pep Guardiola it first. Pep first. I think Pep first, and then it's all debatable. You could say reasons for why Klopp should be the best. I mean, he's inspired Liverpool. He's got definitely people are scared of Liverpool more so in the last few years. They're bringing in big boy signings, always smashing world records now. So you could say Klopp. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily Unai Emery, but for his own reasons. I mean, unlike Klopp and well, Klopp's won something. Klopp's won something, but unlike someone like Pochettino, he's won something, and he's obviously you've seen what he's done. He's won the Europa League. Pochettino, again similar to Liverpool, he's got people scared. He's doing his thing. He's got his own question marks to answer, but yeah, Sarri plays good football, so it remains to be seen. Obviously, he's the new Chelsea boss. So yeah, man. Obviously, Jose, regardless of Jose falling off or being past, it's still Jose Mourinho. So for me, it's Pep Guardiola, and then when you look at the other five, it's all debatable depending on what you look at. Each can claim to whether it's inspiration, technical, tactical, or just their managerial history and CV. All could be claimed to be that second place and so on and so on. So it's down to personal preference, my guy. But next, don't use this is, do you think Italy should implement a Clairefontaine-esque academy to improve the national team and allow everyone to get citizenship instead of granting it at 18? In regards to granting citizenship, my guy, I know there's a lot of African-based players within the national side. Well, I say a lot lightly, but I've watched youth level and I've seen a lot of players of African descent within the side. I don't know if they were born in Italy or they've been granted citizenship and things like that. And a couple of them haven't been 18 yet, so I don't know how that works. I'm not going to speak on that, but definitely a Clairefontaine esque academy style would help any nation. More so Italy. I'm sure they want to bounce back from the disappointment of not qualifying for the World Cup in the next Euros. They've got a good amount of young players coming through. So that's definitely a good question and definitely what I would say. So good question, don't use this. Harry Hunter asks is, why are we not trying for Malcolm? Bro, I wish I knew myself. I don't know, my guy. I don't know. Jack asks is, do Arsenal Fan TV not only have a negative effect on the fan base, but also the players? This could come from overhyping players only to berate them after lackluster performances. Does that frustrate you? I wouldn't say that's necessarily a platform in itself. I think Robbie and a couple others actually provide a good platform. It's a good basis and stuff. What does frustrate me is that certain individuals on that show use it to flip flop and gold fans and create agendas, as you saw with Wenger at the club when Wenger was here with the protests and all of that. I'm not saying you can't protest, by the way, people. I just don't like the way people use agendas to try for personal glory, to try and brand out and branch out and things like that. So I wouldn't say you could say it has a negative effect on the fan base, but I also believe controversially, well, if that's not even the right word, it has a good effect on people. It depends how you use it, and maybe Wenger's gone and a lot of frustrations can be left. So yeah, obviously, in any aspect, people bred in only then to buy rate players is going to frustrate everybody, to be fair. So I've already told you lot previously. I think Robbie runs a good channel. Obviously, I like Turkish Guna and what's his name, Troops as well. The others I don't really watch and have time for. There are a lot of good ones on there that talk a lot of sense, but because they're not shouting and ranting and raving and stuff like that and feeding into the beast which gets attention nowadays, they're probably not the most viewed and they're not the most known. And I'm evidence of that. I can't give you their names. So yeah, man, you could say it does. But at the same time, if it was to have an effect on the players, of course, the players, fans are always going to affect the players. You've seen it at Madrid, you've seen it at Sporting. So it is, you could say it does. But by the same logic, I do believe if these players are honestly sitting down and watching some of the stooges that go on Arsenal Fan TV and feel affected, then you need your head checked out. Because some of them, if you gave them a football, they'll look at you like you've given them an algebra test, essentially. So yeah, man. Spence asked, thoughts on Tricao, who plays for Braga. Of Braga, better yet. I haven't seen too much of him, but I'm enjoying what I've seen so far in the under-19s championship in the games I believe he's played against Italy, and whoever Portugal played in the first game where he grabbed 2 goals. He's a winger, but it remains to be seen. I like what I see so far. I looked at his club because he is one player I want to talk about. I looked at his club form. He probably could increase his output, but he looks like a good player, my guy. No name given. Have you been watching the under-19s tournament, and who's caught your eye so far? It's difficult to tell you who's caught my eye so far because it's early days, but obviously Adley's there, Goutin's there, the Turkey's number 10 was there, England's Embleton's caught my eye, the Sunderland midfielder, Adam Lewis, as you already know, I tweet about a lot. There's quite a few, there's a couple of players to be fair. The young Norway striker I've talked about, he had a frustrating game in his first game, but he rattled the crossbar. In the first game, whoever Ukraine played first, number 21, I was impressed by his movement and obviously he grabbed the goal. So there's a couple. Zhu, I can't say his name, Portuguese international youth player. I've seen him play at Toulon. I've seen him play quite a lot. And I believe he played in Portugal's last game. I've just been impressed with his technical qualities. So they're the few so far, my guy. Who else have we got? Don't use this also asks, sell Aaron Ramsey to raise funds for a winger and have a midfield free of Torreira, Xhaka, Ozil. That could be a thing that's implemented, but I wouldn't necessarily be open to selling Ramsey unless he's not committed to signing this new deal. So we'll have to see on that. Clark asks, what's your thoughts on adding new equipment for training to enhance recovery? I'm all for that. I mean, I'm not a technology man in the sense that I don't work on any specific technology, but any technology that can enhance or better results or mitigate injury or increase performance, I'm all for, my guy. And someone has also asked, do you think Lucas Pereira could do a job on the wing this season? I definitely think Lucas Perez, can be used in the squad. I definitely believe he could be used in the squad at some capacity based on how you saw how weak our bench was. I'm not saying he's a great player or nothing, but he could be used in our squad. Equally, I probably would sell him if it was me to raise funds to go after someone else, to be fair. Igal Ibrahim asks, what do you think about Reece Oxford? I rate him highly. He can play centre mid, DM, and he's best at centre back. I like Reece Oxford. How West Ham haven't developed him and developed him to the way where he gets England call-ups and shown a bit of faith in him, I'm not too sure. But their loss is Gladbach's gain. I know Gladbach want to make him a permanent fixture in their side and sign him on a permanent basis, so we'll see in that regards. But I like him a lot. I mean, he played against Arsenal, which is so regularly spoken about, and we haven't seen him get a chance for West Ham since, essentially. So yeah, John Doe asks his thoughts on Akpom. He's a good player, but he probably needs to move on to get some sort of substantial first team chances at the club because it seems they've passed him at Arsenal. Hi asks, Deluded, I have a question. Is there a lack of quality wing and a striker who can score goals from corners at Arsenal? I wouldn't say that's necessarily the case, to be fair, because if you looked at it, we scored quite a few goals from set pieces. There is a lack of a quality wing on a general basis at the club, so I agree with that. So yeah, Harry asks again, who would you loan from the current squad? You've put me on the spot there. That's a tough one. I would say you'd probably be looking at the likes of Nketiah or Rene Adelaide and all of these sort of players. Maybe one out of Mavropanos, Chambers and Holding might have to go out on loan. But in regards to Eddie and Jeff, I would want to keep them in the first team. I'd want them to get chances. I believe they're both, especially Eddie, are going to get chances more quickly than people think. But by the same logic, you want your young players to at this stage to play week in, week out. And if I can't necessarily guarantee that, which if I'm Unai Emery, as much as I like them, I can't guarantee that, you'd have to be open to loaning them out. But I do want them to both get a chance. I do want them to both be considered serious parts of the first team in the sense that they train all week and they have a genuine chance of the first team. So I will give them chances, but I'd be open to it. I'd probably say one of the centre halves out of Mavropanos, Holding and Chambers, I'd want to keep them all, but on the basis of game time. Only so many centre halves can play football. Yes, Koscielny's injured, but there's also them. Probably a couple other young players need to step out on loan and things like that. So yeah, probably them, my guy. I've lost where I was now. Harry again asks, my guy, man, going hard with these questions. Is Ryan Sessegnon's future at left back or left wing? It could be at wing back, I believe. If he, I don't believe he quite has it to be a consistent winger at a top club. I think he's good going forward and he clearly assists, but it'll be you guys get what I mean. If he went to a top 6 club, he's competing with what if we just say City. He's going against Mahrez, and that is going to be tough. But he has shown quality on the flanks for playing for Fulham on the left hand side. I do think he's a quality left back. I'm keen to see how he develops in either position because he's got a genuine chance of both, my guy. And seeing's believing. We'll have to see. My gut tells me left back, but I mean my opinion is in a fact he could easily be a left winger. Sorry, left back I meant to say. So hopefully that answers your question, my guy. Bello asks, I think players like Lozano, 19 to 22, should join clubs like Everton so that they have a better chance of starting in games. Tell that to Ademola Lookman, my guy, and improving themselves. If they join the top 6 club, they have a very chance of starting. What's your opinion? It all depends on who you are as an individual. Lozano's at the stage, I believe if he came to Arsenal and Spurs, he starts. 19 on a general basis of 19-year-olds, I see where you're going, and there's a lot of truth, but to which I say Ademola Lookman. He joined Everton, initial promise. He's not been seen, so it's not always a case of black and white. You join a smaller club, you're going to get chances, or you join a bigger club, you're going to get less chances. Ultimately, it's down to opinions of the manager. So, yeah. Darren Holiday asks, have you seen anything of Percy Tewell? And if so, what do you think of his proposed move to Brighton? I think he's a South African international, but I haven't seen him with my own eyes, my guy. So I'd be lying to you if I gave you any honest opinion. But I'm keen to learn as much as you in that aspect. CEO Tully asks, will you do any more videos with Ball Street? It's where I found about your channel. You can ask them. To be fair, if they want me, ask them, innit? Ask them. You know how this game goes, man. I mean, the world's full of people that use and things like that. So ask them if you want me back on there. So yeah. Alex Alert asks, do you think if England had players like Rakitic, Modric or Iniesta to pull strings in midfield, they would be successful in international tournaments? You could say that to a degree. Clearly, we needed a central midfielder, and there was a lack of creativity throughout the World Cup, to be honest. But there's also other reasons we lost. We didn't advance to the final despite having a good World Cup. So while I agree we clearly need a controller and more creative-based players available for selection, it's not always as white as black as that, my guy. Winston asks, Arsenal have been made behind... What? I don't know what that one says, but I think someone says... Arsenal have made behind-the-scenes changes. Do you trust Ivan Glazides? If not, what would you have him do to gain your full trust? I think I've missed your question out, Winston, because I think this is actually from Alex. But I'm just a man of guys proving their worth. I mean, for years, Ivan was just talking, and he's followed through on some of that promise. So what can I say? Credit where due, like I've said in the video. He implemented the changes. He's implemented the managerial changes. So it is what it is. Now I want to see us slowly get to Bayern Munich level and all the stuff we was told when we moved to the Emirates. So yeah, that's all I've ever wanted. I've never been anti anyone apart from Kroenke. I just want people like that are doing their jobs and people that are not lying in this club. So yeah. Cyrus asks, Deluded, what's your thoughts on Seri moving to Fulham? It was a bit of a random move, but Fulham have gained a great player, my guy. Harry Hunter asks again, with Ronaldo to Juventus, do you think Arsenal should make an inquiry about Douglas Costa to fix our winger solution? I would love Douglas Costa every day of the week, my guy, but it's Arsenal, so I don't think we can afford him, per se. So, yeah. Khalil asks, who do you think can win the next African Cup of Nations 2019? I'm not too sure, but I'd probably say Senegal on the basis of the top of my head. Which following German did not deserve to be in that World Cup squad? Neuer, Boateng, Khedira, Royce and Ozil weren't meant to be in the squad. Well, I don't agree with any of that. Prior to the World Cup, you'd call up all of them, to be fair with you. So I don't know what that question was. But anyways, Joker's asked, I think it's Joker Alarms. Who is faster, Henry or Mbappe? In my opinion, Henry with ease. Let's not forget that Henry clocked 13.9 kilometers at World Cup 98. Well, I'm gonna go with Thierry Henry, but I mean, I don't know, either one really. Someone else has asked, I can't say that name, my guy. I'm just gonna call you O. Do you think that Arsenal will be able to become at least fourth this year with the signings they've made, or will they need more time? Or seeing is believing, that's the target, my guy. I'd like to think we have enough to challenge for top four, as I believe everybody in the top six can challenge for the top six, top four, sorry, and win the league. But seeing is believing. It's about getting a run of results and going and all of them things there. And we've got a kind of tough start, so we'll see. Vijay asks is, if you were to trade lives with any footballer, who would it be? Not no one. I'm happy with my own life. I don't believe in that. To be fair, I can't. Nah. If I had to pick one, I'd probably just say Dani Alves because he's one of my favourite players, or Neymar. But I wouldn't trade my life with any footballer, essentially, my guy. So yeah, man. Rax has asked, what's your favourite Bob Marley tune? Well, I'd have to say either One Drop, Shot the Sheriff. What else is there? Is This Love? Buffalo Soldier. There's quite a few, man. There's quite a few. I'd love to. I need to. You put me on the spot with that question, man. I feel like I'm doing you an injustice. So yeah, man. Don't use this as also asked. If Kylian joins Madrid for 150 million, as spoken about based on paper reports, and develops, is that a bargain? I'm surprised you had to ask me that, bro. Of course that's a bargain, considering he went for 250 odd to PSG. So I can't really see 100 odd being the case, but yeah, it would be. Finally, Scott has asked, do you think with the transfer we've made, the transfers we've made, and the fact that we're not missing as many World Cup casualties as other clubs, how do you see our first couple of games panning out? It's impossible for me to tell you personally, my guy Scott. Man, I got a lot of time for you, but it's impossible. We'll have to see as pre-season develops. We'll have to see in the run up to the first game against City. But you'd like to think a lot of them other players at other clubs are going to be rushed back. It's not going to be like Arsenal where we give you a ridiculous break. Seeing is believing. I know we've got Chelsea, City, Cardiff, Hammers, and I believe Newcastle at the top of my head. So these are all games that are not going to be easy. So seeing is believing. At this moment in time, July the 19th or whatever it is, I can't honestly give you an honest opinion. But maybe in the next week or so, I will be able to shed some light on my personal opinion on that question you've asked me, my guy. But you'd like to think we'd have a decent run if it was just white and black. But yeah, man. Thank you for the questions, people, man. As you see, you guys come heavy each and every time, bro. Bare questions, and I enjoy each and every one of them. Please get in the question thing with more. Subscribe, follow me on my socials, and do the rest. Guys, Deluded, it's been a pleasure. I'm out. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your evening, enjoy your morning, whatever time zone you are. I'm out. Thank you for rocking with the best.